Captain's Log, episode 85. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective, home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. The Beer Vengers is an unscripted podcast, except for this part right here where I usually write something. I say usually, but I haven't done that for months. I stopped writing anything in support of when the Writers Guild of America went on strike and are still pursuing a deal with the AMPTP. Since then, SAG-AFTRA, of which I and many other Beer Vengers are a member, is now also on strike. This is the last episode that's going to air before Labor Day, so just think about whether or not you miss the written content on this show, whether you miss written content in general. It's important. And not only are the writers and the actors, but everyone in film production is having a rough time of it right now. So on this upcoming Labor Day, think about that. And if you have anyone in your life who is having a rough time because of all this, go support them, buy them a beer, maybe even stand out on the picket line with them. It's, show them your support, as we do here at the Beer Vengers podcast. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 85, Cap and Huck.
With a beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers, with a beer Vengers, with a beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers, with a beer Vengers.
Yes, we are. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male Hophead Huck.
And we are the Beer Vengers. Wow, that has a different tone to it without Beer Wonder, doesn't it?
Indeed. You may notice our cohort is not here with us today.
That's right. He's off on some special birthday assignment. He just turned 82.
Yeah, happy birthday to the Beer Wonder.
I think I'm a little confused. Actually, that was Captain or Father Brown Stout yesterday. Of course, all these dates don't matter because we're releasing this next week. But just know that these things happened recently, and I don't think there's any real statute of limitations on wishing someone a happy birthday.
Correct.
So happy birthday, Huck.
Hey, happy birthday, Captain.
There we go. So we're all equal.
I almost used your Christian name there.
Yes. It's been known to happen on occasion, but rarely before we start drinking.
I almost called you Porter.
Porter, yes, that's right.
Hey, Porter.
Yes. Hey, yes. Yeah. That Johnny Cash, right?
Yeah, that's we should get that as a theme song one of these days.
If it fits, If I can't fit anything with the beer, I'll just throw in that song. But of course, it should fit fine with the porter beer. Anyway, speaking of beers, shouldn't we just go ahead and get to the pours? I know we can just bullshit around for a while if we want to, but
I don't see why not.
Why this is hard to do without Beer Wonder here. You want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, that was easy.
Oh yeah, easier than I thought. See, there's not that long for me to wait. That's the thing.
I know I like to introduce new breweries today, but I found this beer at the grocery store, and I was like, oh, I got to try this. And it's from my favorite brewery in California. This is called Working for Tips, and it is a redwood ale, and malt beverage brewed with redwood branches.
So very, very California, yeah.
A lot of beers you've seen a bit make spruce tips. So this
Yeah.
is actual redwood tip. So I've never tried anything like this. Usually when I do have spruce ones, I get a bit of a napkin. I get a bit of a smoky flavor. So I like that. So let's take a look. It already looks dark in the can. Should have maybe an amber color. Got my Chrome Wolf glass. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what we look like. Oh, it is dark. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks
Malty.
great.
Definitely looks malty as heck.
So now you said, Huck, you said that was from your favorite brewery. Did I not hear? Did I miss it
In
when you said
California.
in California? It was.
Moonlight Brewing.
I
Moonlight.
thought it was Moonlight. I didn't hear you say it, but that was the first thing I thought.
Indeed.
All right. Well, recently, when Beer Wonder and I had our live show at the Beer and Cheese Collective in the backyard there, I reflected on the fact that we have not had a whole lot of Westbrook Brewery. That night we
Oh,
had
okay.
we had the Mexican cake, and then of course, a long time ago we had that collaboration they had with Evil Twin called.
Oh fuck yeah, my dude.
So I want to sort of I was telling the provider that, and she said, "Well, let me get you this new one from them. It's Westbrook. It's called Adjunct Assault 2. Adjunct Assault, and it's got cinnamon, hazelnut, and coffee. The Adjunct Lords want to see a circle pit. Adjunct Assault. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds very exciting.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking for the it's 13%.
All right. Oh, I didn't get
So
the
I
ABV
wonder if
on
this one's going to be dark. There
Mine
we
is
go.
6%.
Let's take a look at this.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's motor oil dark right out of the can there.
I just got a nice little brown head there.
I'd expect that from Westbrook.
Yeah.
That mouthfeel's got to be nice and thick.
Check that out.
Syrupy Adjunct Assault. I love it. Is that it? It's not a. Is that a collab or no? It's just.
No, it is their own.
All right. Right on.
All
Let's
right.
give it a try.
All right. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Slancha.
Saute. Was that the word? Saute?
Saute, yeah.
Saute. Kampai? Or the Japanese one. I think it's Kampai.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another one. I got too much of this flavor of this beer going now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this one.
Definitely a super malty nose. And the flavor it's reminiscent of a red ale. I'm not getting a lot of I never had it. I don't know what redwood tastes like.
This is this particular one is I complain sometimes about there being too many adjunct heavy things, but
Yeah.
Westbrook is such a great brewery. It's in there, and this is like it has that sweetness, but there's something about that coffee flavor that sort of grounds it. No pun intended. Coffee grounds. I don't know.
Got it.
But the cinnamon really adds a nice little extra bit of spice on there. And this
sweet.
is really delicious.
Excellent. Well, I want to try to dive deeper on this. Now they say it's a malt beverage, so is that an indication of a lack of hops or less hops?
Oh, that's a good. Have you noticed that on their cans before?
I mean, just that they're calling it a historical beer, which is interesting.
All right.
Fresh redwood branches harvested in late May take the place of hops in this toasty throwback that'll bring you right to the forest floor. They said somewhere I was reading that it's a traditional Scotch way of making beer. Using these branches, because if we go back in time, like you say, historical beer. So they're going to a pre-hop era, and a lot of these different regions would use what they had available. Like juniper berries were used in certain grain beverages and whatever it was could grow in that area. And so with the pine trees, but a redwood ale. So it's like a historic beverage made with a new ingredient, because I don't think they were making.
And the ingredient is the bark?
It's the redwood branches, it says.
Oh, the branches. Okay.
Yeah, I need my other glasses.
So as far as what you've tried before, do you think that redwood branches make a better hop substitute than Groot?
I think I would probably say that, yes. This beer is brewed with fresh springtime coastal redwood tips in keeping with the Scandinavian and Scottish styles of brewing with conifer branches. So there you go. So it is an
All right.
old Scandinavian and Scottish style. And it is indeed made without hops. It's a malt beverage. So it's still a beer because it's a grain beverage. But without the
Okay.
hops, it does not meet the Reinheitsgebot rules. But definitely, it's a different flavor. Very malty. I don't love it, but I like it.
Okay. That's well. That's so
And as far
yeah.
as Moonlight goes, I mean, I love everything Moonlight does. And so, just as far as style, like I love that they're going for it and actually brewing this beer. You know what I just read that like Moonlight, like I said, is my favorite brewery out here. They've been brewing since 1992.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Usually, a brewery that's doing such cool and innovative beers isn't usually an older brewery.
Right.
One that would lie back on its laurels. But they're like on the cutting edge of new beer um, innovation, as far as I'm concerned.
And also, you think a place that's been around for 30 years that they would hopefully have a little more distribution, but I guess they're just
Yeah,
keeping it local.
right, right. And they have a small. I was just reading. They have a pretty small tap room, like not tap room, a brewery. They're not a big brewery,
Yeah.
so they've just kept it small, yeah, and managed to be successful. I didn't even know about them till I moved out here, and I had been coming to California since the '90s, so
Yeah.
uh, they're definitely small because they're in the same town as Russian River,
Right.
which has gotten bigger. They have two breweries now, so they have a lot of output. The Russian River, but something about that town. There's another brewery called Hen House out of Santa Rosa that just makes killer IPAs and really good beers. It's just I don't know if it's the water, maybe, or it's just a great brewery town. Great town for brewing. I guess it's the Russian River setting the tone. But then
Yeah. It
again,
sounds like
since Moonlight's been there since '92, they've been setting the tone as well.
I've been trying to find as we've been talking since you've been very good about looking up your stuff, seeing if like Beer Advocate might have a little bit more on this, but there's not a whole lot there. It's they've got some really great reviews, only two reviews, but very very high marks on them for an average of 91 out of 100.
We're talking
Uh,
about the adjunct beer.
we're talking about the Westbrook Adjunct Assault 2. I'm not sure what was in the one, but this one I think is really yeah. It's like that cinnamon, that coffee, definitely some. I'm getting a lot of chocolatey notes in there as well, even though that is not one of the listed adjuncts, but it definitely has that flavor to it.
Right
Really,
on.
and like a nice little, I've got like feeling like a sense of warmth in my chest just from having a few sips of it.
Yeah.
The
Sweet.
kind you get, even though this is not a barrel aged one, the kind of thing that you get from like a whiskey or something.
Yeah, the August 26th is the Moonlight's uh 31st anniversary. Oh.
Wow, and you get to help be there for celebrating that this year. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
actually doing anything for it.
Yeah, I mean it's not close to here, so it's close enough that we get plenty of deliveries, but
Yeah,
and the bars around here always have Moonlight too. It's so they know, the good bars know that this is the good place to get stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of anniversaries, on the last episode, Beer Wonder was talking a lot about Carmine Street Beer's 10th anniversary, and I realized I'd never been there at all.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, a few nights ago, I was in the neighborhood at one of my least favorite indie theaters, but Angelica. I don't.
Oh, movie theaters, okay.
Yeah, I was at a movie theater. No, I like the movies I see there, but the design of their screens are kind of terrible. Uh,
Just old school. It was old school when they were even in 1992 when I would go to a movie there. It would still
yeah, it
it
was
would
like
still
from the first round of like multiplex design, where they're
yeah
like just way too long and thin, and so
yeah
there's like So either you're sitting at the front looking with your neck craned, you're in the back, and it looks like a postage stamp.
Right.
But I was still able to enjoy the film, and I was in that neighborhood, and I was looking on my phone and thinking, all right, what bars are around here that I haven't been to? And I suddenly made the connection, like, oh yeah, that Carmine Street place. I bet that's really close to here. So I walked over
Yeah.
there. Had some the beers were a little pricier than I was looking for, but I have to admit they were some really really great beers.
Mm.
And we flirt with the whole idea of the whole fuck founders thing, but every once in a
Yeah.
while I see one by them that I have to have, and that was what I had there. I had a French toast bastard, I think is what it was.
Oh
I'm
my.
I'm, I'm gonna look this up again. This is what we, this is why we rarely release a lot of video footage, because some of us just us looking down at our phones and think, what did I have that night? I don't remember.
I know we gotta
Uh,
keep researching. I have, yeah, French toast bastard. I see that's what you have
yeah,
now.
and it was a very high. Let me see here. Yeah, there was 11.1%. It's basically their version of the Backwoods Bastard, but it's a Scotch ale. I am assuming it's got the French toast flavors that make that. And I think there's some aging going on with this one as well for it to be an 11.1%. So really really tasty one. And then I think I had another one there, but somehow I'm not seeing it on my list. So it's funny because maybe the other one I had was one I'd already recorded at some point or
Well,
another.
you mentioned there was an 8-ounce KCBC, but I don't know if you got around to that.
Yeah, I thought and I thought I had no. Yeah, you're right. It was a KCBC. It was the Darkness. We talked about the whole Darkness series from KCBC before. I had one
Hmm.
of those at Stoutapalooza. This is one I don't think I had seen before, but I think it was the black. They're all coated by different colors, and this one was the
Okay.
black. Um, and let me see here exactly what that one is. I said, yeah, called the dark. Oh, here we go. At least my Google search remembers me looking for it. Oh, it's called The Darkness Beneath. And this is the black version of it. Um, it
Right
is.
on.
This is exciting, isn't it? All this. What's on my phone? Let me see. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. This is worth the wait, I think. Our unholy beast of a milk stout, aged in Willet bourbon and 8-year-old Elijah Craig barrels, with light roast Chichen coffee beans from Guatemala and Madagascar bourbon vanilla. Notes
Wow.
of smooth espresso, cacao ganache, black fudge, and soft oak.
Oh
Contains
my.
lactose. Yeah, it was a really fantastic beer. I mean, I knew it would be, so that's why I had to go ahead and how often am I going to get over here? I really did realize the reason I haven't been there, I haven't like run across my path, is because generally it's just close enough to the Blind Tiger that
Yeah.
I'll wind up there most of the time.
Yeah. I've only been a couple times and just to buy cans. I think I never sat down there
Yeah,
and had the
but
beers.
I talked for a while to the bartender Dean. He was telling me all about really nice
Right.
guy. Actually, it was a really very welcoming, friendly environment. A lot of like regulars there, and we talked about the podcast a little bit. And he was telling me about the upcoming 10-year anniversary. And in fact, if you go on their Instagram, I mean, by the time you hear this, the thing will have already happened. However, Dean did tell me that they will keep all of those beers on draft for as long as they last. So obviously, some of them that are small kegs may kick the night of the thing, but some of them you might be able to go in Monday or Tuesday because it's happening on a Saturday, and we're being released here 2 days after that. So you can do your math there, and if they don't have it, it's worth the check out. But what's interesting is it is their 10th anniversary. So one of the things that they have on draft, of course, you know why this gets my attention. They have a Goose Island Bourbon County 2013.
Oh
So like a
yeah.
10-year-old.
2013.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, that's
my.
the thing because they're going with that theme, and I think they said they also have some bottled pours of a worldwide stout from 2013. So they're trying to keep that whole theme going.
Right, right. Well, I remember a few years ago we went to Blocktoberfest. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
I was reading shout out to my man Brew York, uh, who is writes a newsletter. I get his emails every week, and he mentioned that Blocktoberfest is happening again, and I was like, I want to go.
Yeah, I
I
think
said,
I
well,
filled out a survey for them where they gave me a discount code, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to be out of town for it this year.
okay, yeah, that's right. All right.
So
Well,
you can come up and
fair
stay at
enough.
my place so you can go to it.
Oh,
Because
all right.
house you can apartment sit for me so you can go to Blacktoberfest.
Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, I will miss you. But I've been doing some festing here in the
Yeah,
Frez, as it were. Last Friday night was kind of fun. There's a brewery here I've mentioned on the show, Graveview Brewing. I'm friends with the brewers now, and they don't have a tap room.
yeah,
So they do have a brewery, and they are beers can be found around town, but it's few and far between. So they had an event last Friday, and it was all about their common ale, their California Common, which is a steam beer, right? And
right,
they made what they called artisanal infusion themed beers, and it's the Lord of the Ales series, and 9 beers to rule them all. So they had 3 different bars, and they're going to the 3 bars were uh, one was Summer Fox Clovis, which is where they brew actually.
right.
I didn't make it to that, but we went to a place called Industry Tap Union. Nice tap room, really nice. Good beer selection, really good spot. I just haven't been over there. You know, it's just a different part of town. I just don't go to that area too much, but really
Hmm.
great place. And we met some of the brewers over there. Went with a couple of friends. We tried 3 of them over there, and they were all the same beer. They're saying the California Common, and you got to get a little uh, flyer where you could fill in the circles when you try one.
Right.
I got to have the flight over there for that one, and then we went to Spokeasy, which is down in the Tower District, and I had another one there. So that was a fun little event on Friday. Um Artisanal beers, they were all California Common, so it wasn't. There was the Common, the Crimson Vesper, the Peach and Leaf,
Yeah.
Apple of My Chai, Choco Mate Pass. That was good.
Chaco Mate
Choco
Pass.
Mate Pass. It was made with like chicory and chocolate and also I think cinnamon. I mean, there might be nutmeg in there as far as I know.
Wow.
Coconut Campfire,
There's
Blackberry Forest.
nutmeg in here.
Exactly. And any of these could have been had nutmeg. They were basically made with all different types of tea. Was the idea.
Oh, okay.
And California to the Artisanal series. So
Oh,
it was
that's why you're
fun.
pronouncing it that way. I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a nice little promotion for Grayview, and I hope that they can get a tap room going one of these days.
Excellent.
Uh, Here in the Frez, yeah, they're definitely a Fresno brewery for sure. And so that's Friday. I'm gonna try to take it a day at a time, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what. Oh, I think no, I don't think I may had any like beer ventures on Friday, except anytime I don't have anything outside of it, I will stop by the Beer and Cheese Collective. Uh, that's why they're such a good sponsor, because I would be talking about them even if they weren't giving us free beer for the podcast now and again, because it's where I hang out a lot. But for me, I wound up having to take a week off from work last week just because I had some vacation that was about to expire. So I spent a lot of time going to places, and a lot of those were movie theaters. But now that you mentioned Blocktoberfest, I actually did go to that location over the weekend.
Oh, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah.
because a couple months ago, these tastings they have at Beer and Cheese Collective almost every other week. Occasionally, they change it up, but generally every other week they have a tasting. And they had one for Transmitter a couple months ago, and they essentially the way they'll do it a lot with a lot of these places, all you have to do is maybe buy the draft beer they have, or buy any of their beer and take it away from you, take it away with you, and either they'll give you something right there or they'll enter you into a drawing. And I entered myself into a drawing and wound up with a gift certificate for 4 8-ounce pours. I might call it a flight because we sort of treated it as such, but that's sort of a mega flight if they're all 8 ounces. uh,
Yeah. I
had
like
some
that.
had some really good stuff there. Yeah, the only caveat the whole thing was, uh, some of the beers were, if there was only one size, we could get one of those if we wanted to count it for two. So what we did was we just picked our favorite 4 of the ones that we were allowed to, and then wound up getting 2 more of the ones that were like a little heftier. In fact, one of those was it was a barrel aged sour. That's sort of a fun thing about Transmitter, is like all their beers. there was a porter, and then we had that for one of the 8-ounce pours, but they also had like a beer de garde. They
Hmm.
really are committed to that saison slash farmhouse
Yeah, they got
style.
farmhouse ales. Yeah,
That really is their specialty, and they do it better than anyone, I think.
yeah, and they're sort of under the radar. Is that a
Yeah,
pun? No pun intended. Because they're
the
transmitter.
transmitter. Yeah, I got it.
Uh, yeah, I get it. You get it. You get it.
See what I did there?
I like them. They also make lagers and they make an IPA too. But
Yeah.
they really do make they stick to that farmhouse and sour philosophy, and I think they do really good stuff. And it's a nice tap room too. And in that same place is a Russ and Daughters, the Jewish
Yes,
deli,
I remember when we were there
and
for Blacktoberfest. You got some whitefish or something
that's a
there.
whitefish. I gotta get that whitefish again
You
someday.
got to line your stomach with something before you go on and multiple tasting thing.
Right
I think when
on.
I was there, they had like an empanada truck, and that's what I used to you know prepare for the onslaught of multiple tastings.
Right. Well, I've been trying a new thing because I have been partying kind of hard of late. I'm trying to I set the goal. It's a goal for myself to have no more than 10 beers in the week. Right.
Okay,
I'm going Sunday to Saturday. And last week I did 12,
okay,
12 and a half. And this week I'm like, tomorrow I'm going out. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to like some cool places. It's so hard
yeah,
because I go to these bars and I'm like, okay, this is my last beer, but it's like, oh, but there's like five I want to try. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's and also I take the bus to the tower, so
sure.
that kind of
So
gives me like free reign to like not worry about driving home. So that gives me like I can have as many as I want. So anytime I tell Cider Girl, I'm like, I'm taking the bus. She's like, oh Christ, what's he gonna be like when he gets home? But it's better. I mean, I'm a responsible driver. What can I say?
yeah,
I'm very and because it's a car culture here, and I know that most people do drink and
yeah.
drive. They don't necessarily get drunk and drive, but I know people will have 3 beers, maybe even 4 beers, and still drive.
Yeah, and
Um,
doesn't
I'm
California
just
have
not
pretty?
comfortable with that
But
personally.
also doesn't California have pretty rigid standards as far as the blood alcohol level?
I don't know. I don't. I missed that question on my driver's test.
Oh yeah. Oh, you did. They
I
asked and
still
you got it wrong.
passed.
All
I
right.
did get it wrong. The blood alcohol level. It is very low, though. You're right. It's very low.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is like you almost have to just like smell a beer, and I did just look this up.
Oh,
Apparently,
good. Yeah.
it is 0.08% or higher if you are of age, 0.01% if you're under 21, and 0.04% if you're on a DUI probation.
Oh my.
I don't know how many drinks that actually translates to, but it doesn't sound like a lot. Oh, here
I
we
looked at
go.
some.
Yeah,
There's like a chart, right? It shows you how many you can have.
yeah.
And I was reading this chart and it's like with my weight, and somehow I interpreted I could have 8 beers. Bricken's like, I don't think you read that right.
Yeah, you're right. You think it should be based on your weight, but what I'm seeing here, what they're claiming is 0.08% is basically 4 12-ounce beers over 2 hours. So what we've determined, if you ever have to take that test again, 0.08.
Point oh eight.
So less than zero point 0.1. Now watch, they'll tease you, and 0.09 will be one of the choices. Was it
Oh
multiple
wait,
choice?
it was multiple choice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, hopefully, I'll never have to take it again, but
Oh, okay.
I guess it's possible. They might make old people take it.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel is that specifically a California thing? Because I feel like when I moved to New York, I had to get set up with insurance and all that, but I don't remember ever having to take a separate like driver's test in New
Yeah,
York.
same for me. Yeah, when yeah, but even Cider Girl had to take it. She's a California native,
Yeah,
so I thought that would give her some leeway, but no,
yeah.
she couldn't. She couldn't not
So
take
we
it.
thought it was only going to be two of us on this episode, but Teddy is determined to be a part of this today.
He's just gets excited. He's not
Yeah,
getting belly rubs. He's upset.
Well, you know,
We need to hire someone to be in here just giving belly rubs all day.
yeah, that's you know, that's you know, I honestly I would bet that in California, maybe not in Fresno, but in California, there's definitely an occupation that does that.
Yeah. Dog hugger.
I mean, one of the funniest things about to me when I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, obviously that's L.A. or Santa Monica, but the funny thing about that show is there are occupations I never imagined would having, and then you have all these rich people sitting around talking about like who does your remotes, and they're all just and everyone has a remote guy there, like a guy who comes who helps them set up their remotes. Like, yeah, my guy who got my remotes, I can't figure it out at all. Like, oh well, I got a great guy. I'm like that is a job in
Yeah.
the L.A. area, a guy who comes to your house and helps you set up your remotes.
Yeah. I mean, I could use that, frankly.
Oh yeah,
I do have remote issues. Always have.
well, I partly is that because you insist on continuing to have cable.
I know. And I don't know. I mean, we might start dropping stuff left and right. I don't know.
I mean, I feel
Well,
with the
it's a,
apps, for me, with the apps I have on Roku and what I have from broadcast just with an antenna, I have more than I can handle.
yeah, I do find not necessarily needing the cable,
Yeah,
but I don't
but
know,
you're
especially, yeah, it's like live sports and I don't really watch too much of it.
yeah.
Like they had the Women's World Cup and they're like, yeah, the game will be on at 6 a.m. Like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're about at that point in the show.
Oh yeah, you're. I see. I'm still working on my first one, but go ahead and I'm going to savor this one, but I may get to a second one before the end of this.
And I got another beer, and I just decided to spotlight my friends up at Moonlight. I got another one.
All right.
This one's called Side of Rice. Side of Rice. It's a rice lager, a full flavored, extra light bodied lager with notable rice character, crisp, crackery malt, and delicate floral hops. Now, I like a nice rice lager. I do. Um, but, oh, it's coming right out of the can. The problem I find is they're just too low in alcohol.
Well, yeah, that's
This is 4.7. And I got my hophead glass here. Let's give it a
oh, there you
shot.
go.
We're going to see a lot of clarity here. Very
Super
clean. Yeah, a nice clean pour here.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
that
a
is
lot of
very
clarity.
very low on the SRM chart for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I mean that is an
Cider
interesting.
rice.
I think one of the interesting things about craft beer is that I feel like they have
Oh,
brought
I
back the
just
respectability of the rice lager.
yeah, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah, uh, yeah, because the rice is known for our light American lagers, the
Yeah, it's like a
Budweiser,
filler.
and
It's often referred to as a filler, like sorghum or something like that.
to save money,
Yeah,
I guess, by not by buying less grain. I don't know how much, just use the barley for Pete's sake.
yeah,
But anyway, imagine, I mean, we'd have a whole different beer culture if we just never went into the rice and corn thing. But I think originally when we did that in the States, it was because we had a lack of access to the quality hops, especially the noble hops, the European hops.
right.
And so the hops we grew here they were a little more bitter. And it wasn't until like the 1980s that we discovered the West Coast hops, the Yakima Valley hops, were really good for IPAs and that sort of thing. And then the craft beer revolution took off. But before that, we were like, well, put some rice in it. That'll do the trick. And it's not like it's unprecedented. The Chinese have been making a rice beer for like 900 years. 900 sounds
Yeah,
right to me.
yeah. Well, that's the
900
thing. It's
years.
like
Nine
anything that's
thousand.
old enough, someone can figure out a cheap
9,000
workaround.
is what I meant
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, 9,900. It's zero. All this fuss over is zero or two.
Smells good.
Decimal place.
Let me give it a try. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
it's got a real like I don't want to say bitter finish. It's bitter. It's got a bitter aftertaste, but it's good. It's really good. I mean, it's got a nose of a light lager, and and but as you can see, it's got a nice head. It's
Very
giving
healthy
me some
head.
nice
Yeah.
lacing. So I don't know if they give it some extra hops here, but floral hops. Yeah, so maybe it's made with West Coast hops, and so it has a real craft beer flavor to it. Excuse me, and it's a good belcher,
Excellent.
real quaffable. Yeah, I like that.
Well,
So you're right.
as you get lighter, I'm gonna go just a little bit darker. Interestingly enough, I should say both beers we've had today, I'm having today, are from Beer and Cheese Collective. That first one I neglected to mention before is
Sponsored pour.
it's a sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective. This other one is not a sponsored pour, but I also bought it there, and I was really glad that the provider pointed this one out to me because I saw it on the shelf, and uh, all due respect, Huck, I know you like the peanut butter beers. I'm a little wishy-washy on them. And I saw this beer, and I had seen another version of it that was peanut butter, so I had sort of like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get that right away. But the provider pointed out to me that this particular version of Abomination Midnight Snack is actually
Mm,
a chocolate fondue version. And so the adjuncts it has listed on there are chocolate, cream, vanilla bean, and pound cake.
all
And
right.
this one is a oh my! I actually I'm
Sounds
going
like my
up.
favorite donut.
I'm also going up with this one. This is a 14%.
Oh, heyo.
Yeah. So here we go. I'm going to use the same glass because I think this with the other adjuncts, it's going to go beautifully.
Yeah, give it a nice little extra flavor. Yeah. And again,
There
we're
we go.
talking dark, and I love this can
Yeah,
art. We got to take another look at that.
I will. I'll show that in a second. Here we go. Yeah, this is Abomination does some great stuff. As I said, I was on vacation last week, but
You know what's interesting? You're there right in the middle of your can. There's something there that's
it's being
bleeding through the green
disappeared
screen.
from the green screen.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So what it
it's like a
is
little
like
crystal ball or goldfish
so
bowl.
you got like a monster here, looking over into this. There's a fondue pot there. That's
Ah,
down
that's
here.
what
It's a
it is.
fondue
Yeah.
pot, and that's where like the chocolate's going into, and also behind all of that is just there's a refrigerator because it's like basically you're opening up your refrigerator for a midnight stack and you've got the fondue pot in there. So yeah, let's give this a try.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's delicious. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Is that copyrighted? I
Oh, fuck, that's delicious.
Yeah, I think at some point or another I ran across it.
OFTD.
I don't know what channel it's on, but it was I found it on like one of my streaming services. There's some food show called "Fuck That's Delicious."
I am not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it definitely is. It is very sweet, but yeah, it's a really nice dessert stout. Nice. Yeah, this is adjunct night for me, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really good. I meant to look up before we did this thing tonight about what other abominations we've had because I know we've had a few, but I just can't remember them.
Yeah.
I have our
And that's they're part of the 12% group out of North Haven, Connecticut. Is that right?
I think you're absolutely right. It doesn't say here, but I'm pretty sure you're right. I think they brew out of 12% usually. Although no, actually, this one says yeah. Yes, it says they're distributed by 12%.
Okay.
I think they're probably brewed there too. Hard to say for sure. But yeah, here's what I'm going to do in real time while we're talking. I'm going to bring
Yes.
up this and look at our spreadsheet here and see if I can get to the bottom to see what we've had from Abomination
No, we've
before.
had them a couple times.
Yeah. They're great. They do some fantastic stuff. But and I will say
And they do the scary can art.
I actually did like their peanut butter version of this one, but this one's better for me because all this it's all subjective, isn't it, Huck?
Yeah. Speaking of subjective, when
Yeah.
I talk about Moonlight and how Everything they do is just fantastic. I really did like working for Tips, the Redwood Ale. It's just not
Yeah.
my style, but
Yeah.
this side of rice, this is like one of the best rice lagers I ever had.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's and they calling it a Japanese rice lager, but I mean, if you take a Sapporo and put it up against this, it's like, sorry, this just rules.
All
Look at
right.
this lacing.
I have
Look at
two
that
listed.
lacing on there for a lager. It's good.
I do have two abominations listed here. I'm going to be finding them very shortly. Okay, so this we had one that was a this was a beer wonder beer. I remember it specifically because he just really liked the name of it. We had one which is Abomination District 96 collaboration called "Don't Step on Snick,"
Okay. Yes.
and
Don't step
the
on
other one,
snack.
this is a really
I
interesting
get
one.
it.
I had one of theirs when we had our pumpkin episode way back in episode 6, and it was called Forbidden Pumpkin.
Oh, okay. Now that's when I had a District 96 beer,
Yeah.
I think.
That sounds plausible to me.
Nice brewery. I forget about them.
Speaking of breweries that I've either forgotten about or neglected or meant to and didn't get to, after we went to the transmitter place, Belgian Babe and
Yes.
I decided. I suggested it and we decided together. We've been talking for a long time about That Which Ails You.
Yes. It's in downtown Manhattan.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we've been hearing about it. Like we've been hearing about it. I think you might have mentioned it on the show
I probably
first.
mentioned it first. I never went down there. Yeah.
And then when we had when we were doing our show about we should probably give episode numbers when we do this more often in case anyone who's listening. I know most of the people who religiously listen to every single episode we have.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't, we'll try and give. We did an episode called Curtain Up, which was all about the Curtain Up brewery, or about the Curtain Up beer that was made by a bit different breweries. It started at Gun
Right.
Hill, and it was a whole thing to help the performing arts. And when we
Yes.
had that on, it was really interesting because we had the happy hour guys on, and one of them had a Torch and Crown beer, and he said, this is my Manhattan's only brewery. And Dave Lopez, the brewer at Gun Hill, said, no, actually, there's another one. And he made sure to mention That Which Ails You. So that was like 2 years ago, and I finally got there because I realizing we
I'm
wouldn't.
glad they're still there.
Yeah, we wound up taking the ferry to the Navy Yard, and then we went back down and realized, oh, this is about a 15-minute walk to That Which Ails You. We should check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. You walk in the place, and the first thing they do is, would you like to have a sample of our 2 most popular beers?
They just ask you that right
They ask
away.
you what right away. They give you like free samples. They've got like a basic lager, and the other one they had was like a ginger IPA,
Oh, okay.
which was really good. Now, of course, after sharing those 6 8-ounce pours at Transmitter, we wound up not getting any full pours, but we had a flight of our favorite ones, and I think of the ones the flight we had, the best ones of that there was a coconut porter. And then there was
Mm-hmm.
like this lychee. How's that pronounced? Any
Lychee.
lychee? It was a red ale, but with lychee in it, and
Okay.
it was really
Mm-hmm.
really good. And the bartender was very friendly. And then they have a nice backyard area
No
with
kidding.
like tables and stuff. There's also like a sandbox, and there is cornhole, and
Wow.
there are hammocks in their backyard.
That's great.
I think so too. Yeah,
And they have room for, they do all their brewing on site.
they do all their brewing on site. They sell all their all their beer on site. It is officially, they have this outside the place. They call it a nano brewery,
Yeah. In
which is
Manhattan, which is like so hard to do.
that is like the level below microbrewery is nano brewery, and I
Mm-hmm.
know there are numbers, and beer vendors, feel free to look that up online and email us about what those are, because I think we've done enough research for today. But nano breweries, it's a very small batch, very it's closed
Mm-hmm.
loop there. I mean, I'm sure some nano breweries sell stuff outside, but yeah, we did ask the bartender, and he said, yeah, it's all brewed there, it's all sold there, it's all self-contained there, and some really really nice breweries.
Now,
I've had,
was there a nice crowd there?
I mean, it was kind of chill. But that's just August in New York, I think. Like, it's a sort of place that is probably
Yeah, it's
mostly
quiet.
locals
Yeah.
that swing by there. This was like on around 4 or 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. Uh, so it's like I feel like there's the brunch crowd, and then there's the evening crowd, and in between, like Saturdays aren't necessarily incredibly busy, which I always like when I was like, okay, well, I can stay here longer and relax and have a good time, more so if it's not packed with people. But I hope they do really great business at other times of the day. But
Yeah, and this location, for those that aren't like hip to what New York is like, I mean, it's when we talk about downtown, this is not an area that's like generally, I don't want to say it's under visited by your average New Yorker.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, it's close to the F train. Um,
It's what we call East Broadway
yeah,
is the neighborhood, I believe.
Yeah, the only thing that was striking any ring of familiarity as I was walking from the bar to or the brewery to the train was I think it's probably not terribly far from the Metrograph movie theater.
Okay. It's
Uh,
almost under the Manhattan Bridge,
yeah, that sounds right.
just about. It's on a street called Madison Street.
Madison Street, not to
So
be confused with
it's
Madison Avenue.
if you said to even to a New Yorker, you said, "Yeah, it's at Madison and Market,
Yeah,
and not
the,
Madison
the,
Avenue,
no, Madison Street.
Madison Street and Market Street." You'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
But that's downtown East Broadway area. Yeah, I used to go down there a little bit. There was like an open mic that I used to go to in that neighborhood,
yeah.
and there was
What
another
was the
beer
location?
place down there.
Oh yeah,
That was an old dive bar, and it was called something. It had a number to it.
yeah.
I'd have to find it. I think it's right here. Hang on, if it's still there. No, maybe it might be gone.
It's entirely
These things
possible. No, I was just wondering
these things
if you
tend to
mentioned it, if it's a
disappear.
place that I remembered.
Yeah, it was right on East Broadway,
Okay.
the actual street, and as opposed to West Broadway or Broadway. Three different streets.
Yeah.
Uh, it was the address of the actual place, the
Okay.
number. So it was a real nice dive bar. There used to be a Sunday night comedy open mic, and I would go to that sometimes
Well, if there's any of
back
our
in the
listeners who are
day.
out there who remember what Huck is talking about, please.
I also was in a movie that filmed in that bar too.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, a movie called Stags.
Stags. Did
Stags.
that get a whole lot of distribution, Huck?
It did not,
Yeah. But I'm
but
sure it was a great piece of work. But yeah,
not bad, not bad
yeah.
for a low budget movie. I actually had two roles.
Oh yeah,
I played Dr. Pern,
yeah,
a podiatrist
yeah.
who uh, officiates a wedding ceremony.
Okay, so he's like wears a lot of hats.
And then I had a secret role as a British narrator to a wildlife documentary.
Ah,
And it's the first thing you hear in the movie. It's also, uh, I do a voiceover of the trailer for the film.
so
If you look up Stag's trailer, you'll hear my voice.
here's just something that where my brain went when you talked about how you were a doctor in a dive bar who was also a wedding officiant.
Yes,
Did you see John Mulaney's recent Netflix special?
I did not. Not
One of
yet.
one of the things about it was like how easy it is to get drugs from certain doctors, and the best way to do it is like do like a search for like whoever is lowest rated. Like if you search for the lowest rated doctors,
Okay.
they're the ones you can probably get the drugs you want from. And I feel like a
Ah.
doctor who's a wedding officiant in a shitty bar would probably be one of those doctors.
Well, it wasn't the wedding took place somewhere else, but
Okay.
Dr. Pern was a family friend.
Okay.
Also played, and he also was Jewish, and I've actually played Jewish characters more than once.
As have I.
Uh,
Have you ever worn a prosthetic nose for it?
I have no. I use the birch. I use the birch nose. Um, by the way, the bar is called 169 Bar, and it is still there according to Google Maps.
As
169 Bar. I have had an empty beer for a while, so
okay.
unless I'm gonna go get a third one, I think maybe
All right.
we'll
Well,
where can we Where can we hear more about the Beer Ventures?
Well,
Captain.
you can reach out to us at thebeervengers@gmail.com for emails. And speaking of that, actually, this is something I've been wanting to mention like the last 3 episodes because we always
Okay, great.
promise to talk to our fans that they do. And our friends who were very early adapter and apparently if you continue to listen, we had them on the show. The acquired tastings guys.
Yeah.
They regularly reach out to us on our social media, so they're clearly still listening, and they appreciated that we mentioned them casually a few episodes ago. And we just want to let them know that we appreciate that. And anyone who reaches out to let them know, you're listening and enjoying the show, we encourage you to do that at thebeervengers@gmail.com or on any of our social media apps at the Beer Vengers. I don't think Threads has really taken off.
I picked up Threads the other day. I went to look at it and I was like, oh, people are posting on here.
Yeah. We posted like 4 times on there. We got one like I don't think anyone's really spending any time there, or we're just horribly unpopular. But really the place that as the primary. What did I pronounce it that way? I've had a 13% to 14%
I
beer.
like
That's
it. I
why.
like the new pronunciation.
Primary.
Primary.
Huck and I both do a lot of curation of the Beer Vengers Instagram feed, but that really is where we see you the most. But again, if you find us somewhere else, we'll try and find you back and reach out to you because, you're all Beer Vengers just like us, and we love you.
Yeah, and don't cancel us. We're trying to get to 100 here.
And that's a wonderful end to note it on. Thanks for listening, everyone. Huck, go ahead and play us out.
Right on. Pleasure to hang out with you, Captain.
You too, man.
With a beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the Beer Vengers.